Hi guys, I'm back again with another video. So in today's video guys, I'll be doing a Monday market analysis as usual. So on my right, you can see I have your NAS100, your AUDJPY, GBPUSD, EURNZD, and your gold. So guys, like I said, there were a lot of fundamentals last week, and then you can obviously see that they had high impact towards the market because some pairs are just moving in mysterious ways or in ways that it's not easy to understand or to grasp as to what could possibly happen next. So I try to find those that at least make sense so you can be able to do your thing this week, right? So without any further waste of time, let me get into that, right? So I'm going to start with the DXY as usual, because at least I have GBPUSD, which is with pairs concerning the US dollar, and your NAS100, because what happens on the DXY also affects what happens on NAS100. We're talking about the US. So let's quickly. So let's start to the daily time frame. So guys, with other pairs, I'm not going to start on the daily time frame because there's not much that is there to work with, right? But we have the DXY, we still have that uptrend that has been here for a while. Then we're just going to clone this. And then you could see that you also have that one at the top. So we can draw on the week. Right. So we have an uptrending market, which is the dollar index is currently trending to the upside. First touch, second touch, anticipated third touch over there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will or has to drop, because the interest rates were raised in the US, and like I said on the previous video that I made, that if that does happen, then you're going to see the DXY going to the upside and also see the dollar getting strong, right? So that's the reason why the dollar is currently strong. It's a result of the rate hikes. So it's kind of confusing because technically, when you have something like this, you would expect that the market would go to the downside. But let's drop it to the 4-hour time frame. So dropping it to the 1-hour time frame, we're just going to fix the prices. We don't necessarily have to focus on the past price, right? Because the last time we had analysis, it was somewhere around about here. And then we had that. And I remember saying that if it's going to go down, then it will do this. But if that doesn't happen, you could still see the market going to the upside, which that did not happen. What happened is that the fact that the interest rates were raised and then the dollar is currently strong against its counterparts. So we have that high currently. And we also have this minor support level over there that you're going to see on the 1-hour time frame. So if you come close to the 1-hour time frame, you would understand why it's currently buying, right? Because we also have some sort of a triangle here, some sort of a triangle over there, which is it's just continuing with the buying momentum or the push to the upside, right? So let's drop it now to the lower time frame. So guys, these are not times to be swinging the market. You just gotta go to the lower time frames, like a 30-minute, a 15-minute, and like a small time frames basically. As I was saying, dropping into the 30-minute time frame, you could see that with this impulse move, then this correction in form of a triangle, we're possibly just waiting for the continuations to the upside. So the next thing that you can look out for is just to see what's going to happen on that last high. Because it can, if the dollar continues being strong, we can still see it breaking down, retest, and then going to the upside. That does the market sometimes. I think you'll see a lot of that in USDJPY. But if that doesn't happen, we might see the market going to the downside. So let's just drop it to the 15-minute time frame. So dropping it to the 15-minute time frame, I would see obviously that we have that high. Then the market broke out of this triangle impulsively, and then we just wait. I think what could possibly happen next is this buying momentum to sell. If it will, it can cross above, give a retest, and continue going to the upside if the dollar keeps getting stronger and stronger. So that's what I see on the DXY. So let's move forward to NASDAQ, NAS100. So let's drop it to the daily time frame on NASDAQ. So I'm not going to draw those trend lines and everything, right? Because during these times, guys, times where you have to evolve with the market, try alternative ways to analyze the market, right? So as you can see, we have that high, we have this low. So we can just quickly go to the lower time frame because there's no point for me to draw a trend line. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for me, right? But if you do understand why you would, then you gotta do it. So as you can see, we have that first touch, which is higher high, and that higher high, lower low, lower low, right? So the next direction will be see if the market comes to touch at this previous low, whether it's going to go to the upside or not. But as you can see, downside retracement, and then just waiting to see for the reaction here. So let's drop it to the 4-hour time frame. So dropping it to the 4-hour time frame, we can erase that trend line there because we're not going to need it, right? So dropping it now here, you could see that I see two things. We could, if NASDAQ is to buy, right, it could possibly be a result of this structure that we see over here, meaning that it could give us something like this if it ends up going to the upside, which is to give us a third touch over there before going to the downside. All right, so this is what I think could happen if the market ends up going to the upside. But of course, not exactly that way, right? But it's just to illustrate what I'm trying to say here. However, if that does not happen, then we could also see NASDAQ. Okay, another thing that I forgot to do is those horizontal levels, because we also have these levels on NASDAQ. We also have these levels that NASDAQ has been respecting, right? So as you can see, that's a strong level. Support, resistance, support until it was finally broken, and then market went back to retest. And then I think we can erase this one and then be left with that one and also this one, right? So this is what I currently see. And guys, when you are analyzing the indices, try to draw your trend lines on the wicks of the candles, right? So there's nothing clear for me on the 4-hour time frame. So as a result, I will go to the lower time frame. So because I believe that the price is going to be clearer there. So dropping it to the 1 hour, let's see what's going on, right? So dropping it to the 1 hour time frame, as you can see, NASDAQ has been moving impulses, correction, impulse move, correction, impulse retest, impulse. So if this is a version of a correction, then we might see NASDAQ going to the downside, provided that the DXY continues going to the upside, because when the dollar index is strong, or when the dollar is strong, then your indices tends to lose value, which is they end up being sells, right? So what I see here is we have that previous high over there. Don't forget to draw it on the wick of the candle, right? Because these are the different instruments, right? These are not indices, and these are not currency pairs, it's indices. So it's important to notice how does the market behave in certain times. But sometimes you'd find that it's not relevant to draw it on the wick of the candle, because then if we can look here, this doesn't make sense. Then you adjust now in times like this, at least to have something like that, then it starts to make sense. But if we come to this scenario, we can't say the same thing about that, because it literally makes sense here when we have that previous high on the wick of the candle, right? So that is what I see, but it's going to be clear on the lower time frame. So let's drop it to the lower time frame, right? So dropping it into the lower time frame, right? You can clearly see that this is an impulse move. Then if this is a correction, then sooner or later we might see the continuation, right, of this impulse. Okay, so we can have this trend line here. We have that trend line over there, so that it can symbolize this correction that I see. So the market is currently playing between that high and this low. And then we have this correction, right? And as I said, that the market nature, as I always say, that the market nature says that after every impulse move, we get a correction, right? That is the market nature. That is how it moves, okay? So if indeed the market is to do that, then we might see NASDAQ doing something like this. We might see this happening on NASDAQ, right? Which is impulse move correction, then the continuations to the downside. So this is what I'm currently expecting on NASDAQ, right? So comment down below, what do you think? If you have already analyzed, I'd like to know, what did you guys come up with? Okay, is it buy? Are you looking at buying NASDAQ, or are you looking to also sell NASDAQ, right? But the most important thing would to know when and where. So if NASDAQ ends up pushing to the upside, maybe it'll go back to test that level for one last time to give us a double top before giving ourselves. Alternatively, if NASDAQ breaks out, then give us the retest, then that's when you could also sell NASDAQ, which is at this small low nyana, which is breakout retest there, then the continuations to the downside, right? So this is what I see for NASDAQ. Yeah, it still makes sense, because for as long as we are still between that trend line and this one, NASDAQ can still reach this level and then go to the upside. So we can either wait for it to come back, to go back there, or to either break out and retest and then go to the downside. So this is what I currently see on NAS100. So moving forward now to, okay, AUDJPY. So I saw a nice structure on the daily time frame, so that's why I included AUDJPY. So as you can see, you draw it on the wicks of the candle. So you have your first low, lower, okay, higher low, higher low, higher low, right? And then you have that high over there, which is that high one, two, first touch, second touch, and the third touch. First touch, second, and the third touch, right? So dropping into the 4-hour time frame, let's see what's going on. So dropping into the lower time frame, guys, don't forget to zoom out so that you can clearly see the structure of the market. So what can happen here, in as much as this could be signaling imminent sells or the likelihood of the market going to the downside, but guys, you must understand that at some point we are still in a bullish trend. So what I'm trying to say here, sometimes just because you know this as a correction or as a pattern that represents the sellers in the market, does not necessarily mean that the market is indeed going to sell, right? Because what you must understand is, for as long as we are still, in as much as this is a reversal pattern, but at the same time, we're still in an uptrend or a market that is trending to the upside, and we buy at support and then we sell at resistance. So the market is currently approaching our low, which could possibly around there, meaning that if the market fails to break this level, we could still see AUDJPY going back to the upside to test that previous high before giving us those selling opportunities, because then it would give us a fourth touch over there, right? So what I'm trying to say is you kind of need to also understand those things, even in patterns that are reversal patterns, right? So sells for me would make sense here if AUDJPY could break here impulsively, then give you a correction towards that level, then it's only then that I would consider selling opportunities. But for as long as we are still in this uptrending market, which is also a reversal type of pattern, we could still see AUDJPY going back to the upside before giving us those sells, right? So dropping into the 4-hour time frame, let's see what's going on there. So if we drop it to the 1-hour time frame, guys, you can clearly see that this is a nice low, right? So it would make a lot of sense if the market would break it, because we would break this level and also break this trend line, and then it would make a lot of sense as to why it would sell. So I was saying, guys, right? Even here, you could see that the market is. So this is, for example, this is what I'm currently anticipating on NASDAQ, because these are the similar things, except for this trend line and that thing. But I'm anticipating something like this on NASDAQ, because you could clearly see that we have that high, which is impulse move, then this is a correction, because guys, the market nature says that after every impulse move, we get a correction. That is what you could possibly see if you can look deeper into things, right? So if AUDJPY is to continue with this selling momentum, if the JPY continues being strong over the Australian dollar, then you could see those sells going to the downside. So that's what I see on AUDJPY, right? So let's drop it to the last, which is on your GBPUSD. So GBPUSD, there's not much. This is not clear to me. So just because you usually start on the daily time frame, but if it's something that's not clear on a certain time frame, don't focus on it, leave. So I'm gonna try and see what's going on into the lower time frames, right? So if we drop it to the lower time frame, for me, this is something that I can work with, right? I'm pretty sure it's not easy for others, but I'm here for you guys, right? So as you can see here, because this would not make sense to someone, but it does to me, right? Because experience matters, guys, eh? So let's drop it to the 1 hour time frame. So dropping it to the 1 hour time frame, you can see the market is playing between this low and that high, and then this was a breakout of that level, and then this was the retest, so we can get the continuations to the downside, and especially if the DXY continues with those buys. That means if the DXY continues to go to the upside, the dollar is strong, and then when the dollar is the currency on the right and it's the one that is strong, you will see the market going to the downside, right? Any other currencies, if for example this was GBP, JPY, if JPY is the currency on the right, is the one that is strong, we'll see the market going to the downside. The market buys when the currency on the left, which is the base currency, is the one that is strong, right? So let's drop it to the 30-minute time frame, right? So like I said, guys, these are not the times to be playing on the higher time frames because of the fundamentals and also what's going on in the world. So as you can see, guys, this is a nice thing. This is a nice structure, because if this is an impulse move, actually that is an impulse, then this is a correction, so we're just waiting for continuations to the downside. But let's go to the 15-minute time frame where everything is going to be clear. So as you can see, impulse move, nice correction, nice impulsive breakout, and the market also broke that previous low. So even if the market went back to, I would believe that it would be going back there just to test that level for one last time before going to the downside. But the way I see it, for me, I see the continuation or the likelihood of GBPUSD going to the downside. So of course, guys, it's not going to be exactly something like this, but I'm trying to illustrate what I'm trying to say here. So this is what I see on GBPUSD. So the last one is EURNZD. So let's drop it to the daily time frame so you could see what's going on here. So EURNZD is not one of those that have got clear structures, or like for people who are not experienced enough or still starting out. So I wouldn't advise you to start on this type of instruments, right? Because they just move in, I don't know, because this is choppy for someone who does not have much experience or knowledge, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, guys, let's drop it to the 4-hour time frame. So dropping it to the 4-hour time frame, right? For example, guys, this is exactly what I was explaining on AUDJPY. Because in as much as this is a correction where most people would most likely anticipated that you would see EURNZD going to the downside, right? But if you look at this carefully, we are still in an uptrending market, meaning that at the lowest we could still buy, because we can also see that there is a small support level. If a lot of people expected that this would go down, yeah, sure, it's fine. We understand analysis. You don't have to be wrong, all right? Right. But it will only make sense in the breakout. But for as long as we are still playing inside or within that uptrending market, then the buys are still relevant. So another thing that we have here, and also guys, like I said, remember to keep your charts clean. When you understand what I've just said now, there's no need for you to keep that trend line. You can just clearly have something like this. So what are you doing here? You're trying to make your charts clean so that you can know when to take the next move, okay? Because as you can see, this is a symmetrical triangle, but it turned out to be the bullish one. So we could see EURNZD going to the upside, which is if it does give us the retest, then we might get the continuations to the to the upside. So this is what I see on EURNZD, but it was already moved. So what you could wait for, what you can just wait for is, we can just wait for that retest here, then the continuations to the upside, because this is a nice clear triangle. Because you can see this is a triangle, we have the support, it was symmetrical, right? But it was just a bullish continuation triangle, okay? So yeah, guys, then going to the last one, which is, I think it's gold. So if the dollar continues being strong, we will see gold. We will see gold continuing with the selling thingy. So dropping it to the 4-hour time frame, guys, you can literally see that, okay, sharp, and the gold was consolidating there. And then we also have this low over here. So the fact that it's selling, it was retesting this level 1653.56, right? So let's drop it now to the 1 hour. So what's going on here? I know this may be confusing, guys, because these are just consolidations, okay? But it's fine. I got you. I got you. I got you. Right. So we don't really need that now. We can just erase it, right? So gold is currently playing between that high and this low, right? So if you want to trade gold, I would advise to focus on the lower time frames, right? Because there's not much going on the higher time frames. So what you could do then is wait to see what's going to be the reaction when the market reaches this level. Is it going to go to the upside, which is if the DXY ends up being a sell, then we might see gold pushing to the upside. However, if the dollar continues being strong, we will most likely to see after the breakout, then the retest, and then we might see gold continuing with the selling momentum. So dropping into the 15-minute time frame, we had a similar thing that I saw on GBPUSD. Yeah. So as you can see, this is just a nice thingy, and you can see this is the left leg, the head, and the right shoulder. But if you want me to use the thing, I can use it. This was a nice head and shoulders, right? So this is what has happened on gold. So what's next? Next thing you can wait for, this is the previous low. We do not have any other low other than this one. So if the gold continues to go to the downside, just wait for the market reaction here. If it breaks it, then just know that it's still going to go to the downside. Then if it gives us rejection candles, those smoking on your pin bars, your bullish engulfing, then we might see gold playing between the support and resistance continuously, which is buying from the support or selling, and also selling from that resistance, right? But currently it has moved already, because even if we can erase that, guys, we should keep your charts clean, guys. Sometimes you don't even have to have that black line. You can even use the trend line and have something like this. This is a nice, it's clean, right? Alternatively, you could also use your resistance, something like this. It's still fine. The job is still the same, right? So yeah, guys, we've reached now the end of the video. I hope you liked and enjoyed this video. I will see you on the next video when I will be continuing with the final video for the fundamental analysis thing and move on forward to the next topics. I will see you on the next video.